All right. Hello, everyone. This is Rabbi Bolton speaking from Crown Heights. So we're not in our usual situation, but here's a beautiful speech of the Lubavitcher Rebbe on Simchat Torah. Soon is going to be the holiday of Simchat Torah. It's the end of the holiday of Sukkot. And we rejoice with the Torah. How do we rejoice with the Torah? We dance with the Torah. And strangely, we don't even open the Torah up when we dance with it. In the daytime, of course, we read with the Torah. Now, the Torah is pretty interesting. If you think about it, it really doesn't make any sense, the Torah. And all the history books, all these genius professors, and then there's all these religious people, very spiritual, truly spiritual, devoted people from the Far East, and etc. They don't really talk about the Torah at all. They don't mention it. It's not like part of their whole world conception or part of, history or philosophy or psychology or psychiatry or the only ones that really do sort of rely on the Torah are the Christians, but they contort the whole thing up to the point that it's almost irrecognizable. But they do, even though that they don't like to admit it, but they do use the Torah for all of their principles of good and bad. That's why in America they have what's called the Judeo-Christian heritage. What's Judeo doing over there, right? There's like 2% of America's Jews. Is because in their books, in the Gospels, there simply are no laws. There are no laws whatsoever, except for the things that they repeat over that they receive from the Torah. So here we have the story of the Torah that was given, and that at least that's what the Jewish people believed. It was given to them directly by God, by the creator of the universe. Right? They heard the first two commandments directly from God's mouth. It says that their souls jumped out of their bodies. Tremendously powerful experience that everybody had. And what was it was very detailed, had all these laws and all these words in it. You figure the essence of God that was revealed would just be like this one big light or, sound of, vibration or something. No, it was all these words. I am God that took you out of Egypt, from the house of slavery. Shouldn't have any other gods in front of me. And, don't blaspheme and keep the Sabbath day and honor your mother and father. That's what they heard from the essence of God. So on one hand, we have from the Torah, it's almost like three things. Number one, it was a historical event that had a lot of laws, a lot of details. And then it was this amazing experience that everybody experienced, for their soul. Soul shaking, soul moving, soul changing experience that all the Jews had, which was so unusual that as soon as it stopped, so 40 days later, the Jews did exactly what God told them not to do. They worshiped the golden calf. Okay, then the third thing is that God himself revealed himself. God himself, forget about the details, God himself revealed himself in the giving of this Torah. So somehow or other, the Torah contains in it, number one, all these laws. Number two, a very personal, deep, intimate experience. And number three, it's the essence of God was revealed. That never happened in the history of the world. That the Creator himself actually revealed himself in this world. And here he revealed himself to like 3 million people. There's 600,000 males just from the age of 20 up. So that's pretty heavy. And that's really what the basis of Judaism is. It has this thing which is almost completely ignored by all of mankind, this amazing event. Huh? And it's ignored by perhaps the majority of the Jews as well. They ignore it, or they deny it, or they don't know, they're not aware of it. Okay, so that's what this is talking about. That's our little introduction. Let's see how far we can get here. So this holiday that we're going to have, we're coming up, it's called Simchat Torah. We rejoice with the Torah. This all these things that I just told you about. It makes you, when a person realizes, a Jew, when you realize the Torah is mine, it was given to me, huh? Then you get really excited. It's a really exciting thing. So let's see what there's today. It's happy. Okay, let's see. All right, now this week also we're reading in the Torah portion. Every week we read a different Torah portion. We finish every year. Like this, 53 Torah portions. So every week we read one. And until we finish the whole year, sometimes there's two that are read on one in order to, when there's a short year. Okay, so one of the sentences we have in this week's Torah portion is called Zot HaBracha, the last Torah portion in the Torah. But on Simchat Torah, we finish reading the Torah. We read this Torah portion, which is called Zot HaBracha. That's the last chapter of the Torah. And we read the first chapter, we read the first few paragraphs from the beginning of the Torah, Bereshit, Genesis. Oh. Here we go. The pasuk, the sentence which says, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, morasha kihilat Yaakov. That's one of the sentences in this week's regular Torah reading. Of course, it's not a regular week, but nevertheless, this is what we read this week, and we finish it on Simchat Torah. So what does this sentence say? This, by the way, is the first sentence you teach a child when he knows how to talk. A child is 1 year old. You teach him the sentence. Torah tziva lanu Moshe. The Torah was commanded to us by Moses. Moses commanded us the Torah. Morasha, it is an inheritance, Kehilat Yaakov, to the congregation of Jacob. In other words, the Jewish people. So Moses gave us the Torah, and this is an inheritance for the whole entire Jewish people. This sentence, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, morasha kihilat Yaakov, which it says in this week's Torah portion, Parshat Bracha, is the erste Zach. This is the first thing from the Torah was men hyped on when we start to teach with a Yiddish kin with a Jewish child. Vi Chazal Zagan, like the rabbis say, right in the Gemara in Sukkah, Talmud. Katan, a child, Yodel Daber, as soon as he knows how to speak, Aviv Lomdo, his father teaches him, Torah tziva lanu Moshe. That's what a child should learn how to say. When the children start to learn how to speak, I don't know, they're about 1 year old or something. In this sentence, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Reddit is talking about the Torah is coming like it came from Moses. Moses gave us the Torah. Of course, we know that God gave us the Torah, but really the Torah, how did it work? Moses went up on Mount Sinai. The Jewish people heard the first two of the 10 commandments, and then they said, we can't take it anymore. It's just shaking our souls. It's too powerful. It was like the revelation in the Holy of Holies. That's why in the Holy of Holies, there were the tablets that Moses received on Mount Sinai. So the Jewish people said, we can't take it. So Moses gave them over the rest of the Torah. Even more, it says Torah is the numerical value 611. See, Taf is 400, Resh is 200. That makes 600. And Hey and Vav is 6. So it comes out, so it says 611 commandments Moses gave us, and 2 commandments, the first 2 commandments, I am God, and don't worship, I am God that took you out of Egypt, don't worship any other gods, that they heard directly from God. So that together is 613 commandments. Okay, this is the first sentence which came from Moses, was the air Hatmakalbokim, which he received from Mount Sinai. Right, this is talking about the Torah that Moses received from Mount Sinai. Oops, excuse me. As the Torah of Tziva lanu Moshe, which Moses commanded us, Anhalt, its content is the whole entire Torah. Right? That when it says that the Torah that Moses received, it came down with the Torah, the 10 commandments, that was the whole entire Torah. That which Moses gave the 10 commandments, and also he came down with the explanation. That was the whole Torah and all of the ideas that were going to be learned from the Torah in all the generations. When you feel the opinions of Torah, even the inner secrets and mysteries of the Torah, which the Mashiach will be revealed, it was all contained in that Torah scroll, the tablets and the Torah scroll that Moses brought down. Blois, but in them, Giloy, in that revelation from the Torah, Zainab Faram Chilukim, they were different, aspects. It wasn't just one big bright light or one, magical bar of shining, kryptonite or whatever it is. There are all these details. As Zainab Danyani from Torah, there are certain things from the Torah, Velcha Zainen, shine unplugged, which were revealed. On as Zainen, there were some things in the Torah which were only revealed later. That's the whole idea of learning the Talmud and teaching the Talmud. There are certain ideas which were gradually in the course. But Oich does was that Nizgalazan, even those things which were revealed. Those things which were revealed. Let's see if I can make this here. But also those things which were revealed later. That Nitzan Kain Naya Torah. It doesn't mean that it's things that weren't included in the Torah. It's not a new Torah. Everything that when Moses brought down the tablets and Moses brought down the scroll, everything was included there. Some revealed and some concealed. Normal Matan Torah. Nachamol Matan Torah Vetnek. There's never going to be another time of the giving of the Torah, right? So even if you want to say, there's, beings on Mars or these other planets or whatever, and extraterrestrial beings, and there's life on other planets and other eons and other dimensions or whatever, it doesn't make any difference. There's one creator that creates the whole business. And that creator gave this Torah to the Jews. No one else is going to get the Torah, right? Not the aliens and not the Martians or whatever they come from, or people from the planet Zorik or something. They're not going to be, there's only one Torah. I mean, it's pretty amazing. All the galaxies and then this. And amazingly, they once, there was a scientist that he came to the Rebbe. He eventually became a religious Jew, Professor Green. And he said that he was working for NASA. And they were making an investigation to see if there's life on Mars. And he asked Lubavitcher Rebbe if it's permissible to do. Maybe it's somehow or other forbidden. The Rebbe said exactly the opposite. If you find that there's life on Mars, it shows more the greatness of God, how he can create all these things that we never thought of. But it doesn't in any way impair the fact that there's only one God and there's one Torah. And there's one chosen people, the Jews. So there's never going to be another Torah, nor that revelation to the Torah, Tzivalon of Moses. It happens to be that Moses does say this means that Moses gave it to us. This means, as the I know that the content from this sentence, the meaning is given. So basically, it just lets us know, as Torah, wie viel men hat gelernt. No matter how much you learn the Torah, und men wird lernen, and you will learn the Torah, und wie viel men hat, wie viel men hat, und men wird verstehen, and how much you have in the past understood, and how much you will understand, is this alts in them tzivalan Moshe. The whole thing is contained in the Torah. So therefore, it's verstandig, it's understood, as this is alts noch nor a kleiner teil. It's only a little bit from the Torah. What we get is only a little bit of the Torah. We can understand vile, because in the Torah is tiferet goes deeper and deeper. I'm just reminded of a famous statement that Isaac Newton said. Isaac Newton is arguably the most genius person that ever lived, Isaac Newton. And he said that near the end of his life, he said that he felt as though his whole life he had been like strolling on the ocean of wisdom, and he had succeeded in just picking up one little like seashell. And as he realized that God's wisdom was unfathomable. Now we're just talking about physical wisdom. Even though he delved into a little bit into the mysticism, and he was very interested in Judaism and all these ideas, which they sort of quashed that down the church, that the whole big story. I learned about Isaac, a pretty interesting person. In any case, if that is true about the physical world, and how much more so the spiritual world, and if it's true about the physical and the spiritual world, how much more so it's true about the Torah. The Torah creates this whole business. Huh? So how can it be as zelcha such deep things that, or at least they're in the hint, how can you learn this with a small child? Which he begins now learning Torah. The gewinst licher seder, the ordinary, usual order of learning Torah is minakal kabed. Usually, when you teach the Torah, you learn simple things first, and from the simple things you build up. From green to sphere, from easy to hard. So first of all, you should learn the simple things, and then einfach and inyanim, simple common things, and then afterwards difficult and deeper things. Is nothing to come to the shlemus, then you can come to the ultimate aspect as much as understanding in the depth as you can. Just hate men to learn in them the Seder from Yediyas Shlila. So therefore, 1 second. First time is Yediyah. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the line. It says, B is nothing to come to the era, the shlemus from verstand on Yediyas Achiyuv, in order to know positively and grasp things, is hate menan, so learning in them Seder from Yediyas Shlila. First of all, you come to learn things that are, how do you say, above your understanding. You tell the child, listen, God is very great, you can't understand him. God is very wise, you can't possibly fathom his wisdom. Teach him little simple things, and the majority is going to be concealed from him. Men learn suves, and so azoy and mises Torah to the true Torah is legamri hechetz, totally higher, umushla from unzer hasaga, from our understanding. That's what you tell us, child. The Torah is higher than our understanding. When also was menhat, you learned whatever you learn and understand is nor an F is just a little tiny, like that is the point of the iceberg of phosphor and art. If so, how can it possibly be that we begin teaching the children Torah Tzivalanu Mishi, give them the whole entire Torah at one time with a small child? Right? It's like taking a person and putting in front of him all the food he's going to eat in his whole life and saying, okay, eat all this food. That's ridiculous. You have to do it little by little. Torah Tzivalanu Moshe is like taking the whole entire Torah and giving it to the child at one time. That's the whole entire Torah. How can we do that? We should start off with little simple things, right, in the Torah. You have to honor your parents. You have to keep the Shabbat. You shouldn't steal. You shouldn't lie. How can you start off with the whole entire Torah at one time? The whole Torah was commanded by Moses. The explanation is very simple. The atzmos from the Torah, the essence of the Torah, that's what Moses gave us. Was Tzivalanu Moshe. The essence of the Torah is nit kein zach for to shaykh to hazag. It's not relevant to understanding. Das gehört zu dem neshama. This is relevant to the soul. Und es gegeben geworden zu jedem Jeden. This was given to every single Jew. The Rebbe, so therefore, hat atzmos from Torah, the essence of the Torah, has a connection to every Jew. Afilu to a katan, even to a child. Let's say it in another way. Just the fact that God gave us the Torah, this fact is mind-boggling. And when he gave the Torah, he gave it to everybody. So it's almost like a mother and a father loving a child. But when they love a child, they love him totally. They love the child totally. Inside of that love is all of the care that they're going to give. They'll help him in his education. If he ever gets sick, they'll heal him. When he goes to get married, they'll provide for him. They'll support him. all of the details are included in that love that the parents give. The same thing with God. When he gave the Torah, he gave the whole thing at one time. It's totally above understanding. So to speak, God gave himself when he gave the Torah. This whole idea of you have to start off simple, this is in for understanding. But the whole thing of the Torah that we want to get across to the child is that the Torah is the essence of God. It's not just a book. It's not just our religion. It's also those things for sure. But the essence of the Torah that we have to let is the essence of God, and it's the essence of the Jewish soul. Your atzmus is kolal nit kain inyan from a saga. The main essence of the Torah is not a thing of understanding. And atzmus is for the essence of the Torah. Hatam Eibishter God had upgegeben. He gave, so to speak, himself. Zayin atzmus, he put his essence into the Torah. It's not just a book. It's a work of love. Undurach dem by means of this was a yid, which a Jew learns the Torah, is oti atem lochim, you take me. Nemt kiviyachol mir line, you're taking me alone. Sometimes you also get these things, you can get it sometimes very simply, right? This is the pen that Shakespeare used, right? Your grandpa, used to write letters, right? Your grandpa, oh, this is the pen my grandfather used to like, a book that he wrote, like an original book written by grandpa, oh, we loved him so much. But it's not so important really what's written inside of it or what he used the pen for. Just the fact that it belonged to him. Same thing with the Torah. The Torah belongs to God. This is what God gave learning the Torah for every Jew. Mitzad nivroim alone, that he gave us to us, that we can understand it. Is punkt vider seichel, just like the mind of a small child, is nitkan kli, is not a vessel to the essence of the Torah. Azoi is oich, is also the mind of a mature person, a genius, is also not a vessel for the essence of the Torah. No one can possibly understand the essence of God, but nevertheless, God put his essence in the Torah. It's a work of love. Nor a line, nor a vow, but because Bachar Banu, we call on me, because God chose us from all the people. Therefore, is Natan Lanu a Torah. There he gave us the Torah. So the Torah is not, it's a book in the library, of course, but it's not just that. And it's not a spiritual book, right? It's also that. And a religious book. The Torah is the essence of God in this world. It makes no sense, but that's the fact. That's why God took the Jews out of Egypt and gave the Torah in such a big thing with there was lightning and thunder and the whole mountain shook and everything. And then God said these very simple things, don't kill, don't steal, keep Shabbat. That was so amazing. He should have said these big mystical things that nobody understood, or you pass down to the generations. They're called Yochel, that God, because God is infinitely able. So don't think what it means is that God has to be infinite, far from the world. Because God is infinite, it means that he's not limited to being outside of the world. Therefore, God, he gave us his Torah. Visa is shashuim, like it is the joy of the essence of God. Because God put himself in the Torah. Is punkt wie hat sich reingestellt, just like he put himself in the understanding and the ideas of the Torah, which we learned when we're in the yeshiva and these places. Azoy, the same thing is he put himself in the words of the Torah that a child says. As in dem hevel from a tinok, that in the breath of the child, when he speaks, vozot, when he says the words Torah tziv alanu Moshe, or any words of the Torah, that's the essence of God, just like it is when these deep ideas of Kabbalah or whatever that Moses spoke, or the Arizal. Und das ist the siyum, that's the end of the pasuk, Moshe kilat Yaakov. That's what it says in the end of the sentence, that the Torah is an inheritance for all the Jews. It's an inheritance. What does it mean, inheritance? A person inherits doesn't depend on the person, if he's a good person, a nice person, if he's a kind person, if he's smart, even how old he is, even if he's just 1 day old. A child that's 1 day old inherits. Afilu watinok, that's what he says, even a child. Even a child that's 1 day old, ben from the money, if he's just a direct relative, he's the son of the one who's giving over the inheritance, as bekommt the ganzen ein genum in he inherits everything. 1 second, let me get the oh. There it is. Un azoi is by Yidden, so it is by the Jews. Because the Jews, we are the sons of God. But it says it several times in the Torah. The Jews are called the sons of God. B'ni b'chor Yisrael. As verin ze avek gestelt, the Jews, so to speak, become put in the place of God. Of course, we're not talking about, in this case, God is still alive, but nevertheless, he can give an inheritance. The Jewish people are called inheritance because they receive the essence of God. This means that through the Torah, a person can take the essence of God. So the Torah is a bunch of ideas and a bunch of commandments. So you might make the mistake of saying it's a religious book. It's just it's a handbook of Judaism. Or you might say it's a book of mysteries. Here we're saying, no, this is a composition by God himself. It's eternal. And the Morashah, when a person therefore understands the ideas of the Torah, so he's putting the ideas of God in his brain. It's the 5th chapter of the Tanya explains this. Is to all the Yidden, it comes to all of the Jews, even which those Jews are just like the level of the congregation of Jacob. Jacob, the word Yaakov means from the heels, Akev, the heels, Akev. They also took the Torah, the essence. Says the Rebbe, now we can understand, and we'll continue on this, why it is that on Simchas Torah, that we dance with the Torah closed up. We don't open it up and learn. We read, there's a portion we read in the daytime that says reading, but the main thing we're happy about in the Torah is not the ideas, but the fact that God gave it to us. The whole Torah one time. And that's the true joy of the Jewish people with the Torah. And that's the whole joy of the world, because the Torah is the blueprint for the physical world. The Torah is the means by which meaning is put into every detail of the world, not just in a general way. Because that's the whole essence of the Torah, is that it's pure godliness. And when Jews learn the Torah and they understand it, in addition to the ideas become a vehicle to bring the blessing of God into the whole entire world in every detail. And that's why we're so happy and why we dance on Simchat Torah. Have a good day with Mashiach now. God willing, I hope we can make another class. We'll see. Shalom uvracha. B'chag sameach.